Well, for 28 years, the Canadian women's marathon record has been held by Sylvia Ruger. Now, here you see Sylvia running in the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. Sylvia was our guest on 100 Huntley Street last year. Now, at the recent Toronto Waterfront Marathon race, that long-standing record was broken by two Canadian women. One of those women who surpassed the record by 4 seconds is Krista DuChene, who clocked in at 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 32 seconds. And Krista joins us now. Welcome, Krista.
Thanks.
Now, tell us about that moment, crossing the finish line, realizing that you broke that record.
Well, it was a bit bittersweet because obviously with Lainey being 30 seconds ahead of me, I wanted to beat her. But, you know, I was just so grateful and happy. And I mean, it was an amazing day for marathoners and Canadians. So, you know, Lainey hugged me, and I think she said she hugged me as hard as she hugged her mom. So it was really something we knew was significant.
Right, absolutely. And then there's lots of celebration happening there. And Sylvia, who's a friend of yours as well, came and she hugged you both. And of course, Sylvia holding that record for 28 years. That's amazing. So I still can't wrap my mind around, much less my body around, trying to think of running that long and that hard for over 2 hours and 28 minutes. What do you think were some of the contributing factors for you in having such a great finish?
Well, I've been marathoning for quite a while now. It's been, that was my 10th marathon, and my first one was about 12 years ago, an hour slower. So that was pretty neat. So it's been something that I've worked out over time, and my husband and I have 3 kids. But the 5 main factors that I think make a great marathon would be the weather. I mean, that's just a big deal in terms of wind, rain, and whatnot. Obviously, your training, that you're healthy and you've got it in. Your competition, having a pacer and really having the will and the desire and passion to want to win. And both Lainey and I had all 5 of those factors that day.
And earlier this year, you had quite a different experience at the World Championships in Moscow. Quickly describe that.
Well, it was textbooks training. My coach Rick and I, just everything worked out perfectly with my build and mileage and no injuries. And I was in the shape of my life. And a heat wave came into Russia, which was already quite warm to begin with. And at 12K, I went to reach for my bottle, and I dropped it. I went to get it, and I basically collapsed. And my mind was still in the race to keep going, but my body was done. So just myself and 22 other women didn't finish the race at all that day. And then Lainey obviously had a tough go as well, finishing, but much slower with having walking the last 7 or 8K of the race.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what a turnaround for this last race. What keeps you motivated when you're in those grueling training days where you get up early, you do the running? How do you do that?
Well, I mean, I say to everyone, like Eric Little in the Chariots of Fire, I believe God's given me this gift and made me fast, and when I run, I feel His pleasure. So that's totally something I believe God's given to me, is the passion, the energy. I know it's not normal to be excited to go to bed at 9 or 9:30, to get up at 4 or 4:30 to run 30 or 35K. But I believe He gives me that passion. So that's what makes it possible to get, you know, 175 kilometers done in a week, and cross training, and the kids, and, you know, life at church and everything. That's something that I believe God's given me, that passion.
Well, how important has your faith role has your faith played in your whole running?
It's all about my faith. I mean, I'm not ashamed to or you know, reluctant to talk about it, to put it out there, to witness to people. I believe this is where God's put me, and the talent He's given me. That doesn't mean that you're going to have the best race every time you race. I mean, clear example is what happened in Russia. But, you know, it's how God looks at our heart. And I know one thing that Sylvia said to me after the race, where I said, you know, I really wanted God to use me with this race. And she said, "It takes more grace than I can tell to play the second fiddle well." And my coach was there, and I said, "Can you repeat that?" So she repeated it. And he said, you know, that's going to be something that's going to stick with you, and it will. You know, God can use us as second fiddle. And yeah, I wanted that. I wanted that record really bad. But Lainey got it, and God can use me with this, being second fastest Canadian, and it just makes me hungrier for more.
Right. Well, you are a mother, a busy mom, and a dietitian, and there's a family there, and And how do you balance all these demands on your time and your life?
Well, obviously, with God being central in our home, that's what's the first priority. You know, my son plays on a hockey team that has him out 4 times a week, and it's great. So one of the things that we decided to do was, if there is an activity on a Sunday, that one person or that one child and one adult goes and takes that person to the event. The rest of us, we go to church. That's where we are. That's our family, our life. Communication is huge. My husband and I are always looking at our schedules and talking about what's coming up next and what we need to do. And we have seasons of busyness. So right now, this is my season where I'm not as busy because I just did a marathon. It's my downtime. I'm not training. So, you know, that's where my husband, you know, might work a longer day and he's not home as early as he would be on other days where I have a physiotherapy appointment and he needs to get home for that. So constantly looking ahead at the calendar and planning ahead and communicating.
Well, God bless you, Krista, in all of your pursuits. Appreciate you stopping by 100 Huntley Street.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Stay with us. More to come.